On July 3, 1988, a commercial airliner took off on a routine 28-minute hop across the Persian Gulf. 7 minutes later, it was gone, destroyed by 2 missiles fired from a United States Navy warship. All 290 people on board were killed, including 66 children. It remains the deadliest airliner shoot-down in history involving any Airbus aircraft, and the deadliest aviation disaster in Iranian history. This is the story of Iran Air Flight 655, how a warship mistook a passenger jet for a fighter plane, and how that 7-minute chain of errors still echoes through US-Iran relations today. To understand what happened, you have to understand the Gulf in the summer of 1988. Iran and Iraq had been locked in a brutal war for nearly 8 years. By the mid-1980s, that war had spilled into the shipping lanes. Both sides were attacking oil tankers, including vessels belonging to neutral countries. The United States responded by escorting Kuwaiti tankers under American flags, an operation known as Earnest Will, and beefing up its naval presence dramatically. Tensions with Iran were already running hot. A year earlier, in 1987, Iraq had accidentally struck the USS Stark with an air-launched missile, killing 37 American sailors. An incident that pushed Washington to loosen its rules of engagement, allowing U.S. ships to fire on aircraft before being fired upon themselves. Just months before the shoot-down, the U.S. had launched Operation Praying Mantis, a one-day battle that devastated Iranian naval assets in retaliation for a mine strike on a U.S. warship. This was the environment the USS Vincennes sailed into, a guided missile cruiser equipped with the Advanced Aegis Radar System, commanded by Captain William C. Rogers III. On the morning of July 3rd, the Vincennes was already in a firefight. Its helicopter had drawn warning shots from Iranian speedboats operating in Iranian territorial waters. The cruiser moved in to support, and in doing so entered Iranian territorial waters, engaging Iranian gunboats alongside the frigate USS Elmer Montgomery. In the middle of that firefight, at 9:47 a.m., Iran Air Flight 655 lifted off from Bandar Abbas, a joint civilian-military airport bound for Dubai. Its flight path happened to take it almost directly over the Vincennes. Here's where things went wrong. Bandar Abbas hosted both commercial flights and Iranian F-14 fighter jets. The Vincennes Aegis system tentatively flagged the new radar contact as a possible threat, standard procedure for that airport. A crew member briefly identified the aircraft's radar signal using a code associated with F-14s. Within minutes, someone in the ship's command center called it an Astro, the code name for a fighter jet, and the identification stuck. What followed was, in the words of investigators, a cascade of human error under extreme stress. The plane's identification friend or foe system was broadcasting a civilian code the entire time, but the operator monitoring it missed the match against the commercial flight schedule, reportedly due to confusion between time zones and poor lighting in the ship's command center. The Vincennes radioed 7 warnings, but sent them on military channels the civilian airliner's crew wasn't monitoring. An agitated crew member reported the aircraft was descending and accelerating toward the ship, as if beginning an attack run. Later investigation would prove that was wrong. The plane was climbing steadily, exactly as it should have been on its normal, filed commercial route. At 9:54 a.m., 7 minutes after takeoff, Captain Rogers gave the order. 2 SM-2 surface-to-air missiles struck the Airbus A300. It broke apart in mid-air over the Strait of Hormuz. There were no survivors. In the immediate aftermath, U.S. officials described a very different picture than what actually happened. Vice President George Bush told the United Nations the Vincennes had acted purely in self-defense, describing an ongoing attack by Iranian vessels. The Pentagon initially claimed the airliner had been outside its normal corridor and descending toward the ship in an attack profile. Nearly none of that held up. The formal U.S. Navy inquiry, known as the Fogarty Report, later confirmed the aircraft had been climbing normally, flying its assigned commercial route, and transmitting a civilian identification code throughout. And in 1992, journalists obtained internal Pentagon data showing the Vincennes itself had been roughly 4 kilometers inside Iranian territorial waters when it fired, a fact a U.S. admiral would only publicly confirm on television years later, directly contradicting the Navy's earlier statements. The Fogarty Report's core conclusion was blunt. This was a tragic accident caused by human error, misidentification, and the pressure of active combat. Not deliberate malice, but also not the clean self-defense story first told to the public. No one aboard the Vincennes was ever disciplined. The crew received combat action ribbons for their deployment. The ship's air warfare coordinator was awarded a Navy Commendation Medal. And in 1990, Captain Rogers himself was awarded the Legion of Merit for his service as commanding officer, an award that made no mention of the shootdown at all. In Tehran, the reaction was very different. Thousands attended funerals for the victims, chanting against the United States. For Iran's government, the shootdown became, and remains, a defining symbol of American hostility, invoked repeatedly in the decades since, including by Iranian leaders drawing direct comparisons during later crises with the U.S. Iran took its case to the International Court of Justice in 1989, accusing the United States of violating international aviation law. The case dragged on for years. In 1996, the two countries reached a settlement. The U.S. agreed to pay just over $61 million to the victims' families, averaging roughly $213,000 per victim. Crucially, the settlement included no admission of legal liability. The U.S. government has, to this day, never formally accepted that the shootdown was unlawful, only that it was, in its own words, a tragic and regrettable accident. Iran Air 655 isn't just a historical footnote. It's a case study in how sophisticated military technology can still fail catastrophically under human stress and confirmation bias, how operators primed to expect an attack can interpret ambiguous data in exactly the way that confirms their fear. It's a story that resurfaced painfully in January 2020, when Iran itself shot down a Ukrainian passenger jet near Tehran under eerily similar circumstances, and Iranian officials publicly invoked Flight 655 in response. More than 3 decades later, it remains a defining grievance in U.S.-Iran relations, a single 7-minute chain of decisions that neither side has ever fully resolved. 290 people boarded a routine flight to Dubai and never arrived. What do you think? Was this an unavoidable tragedy of war, or a failure that should have been prevented? Let me know in the comments. If you found this useful, subscribe for more deep dives into the incidents that continue to shape global conflict, and I'll see you in the next one.